Kickoff for the 2024 season is just around the corner. These are my predictions for the 12-team college football playoff. How many SEC teams will make the field? Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. We're brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com and use promo code SECU at sign up to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 or more lineup. Again, guys, that's prizepicks.com, promo code SECU to get your $50 bonus today. Year one of the 12-team college football playoff is upon us, and I'm going to answer the question that we've been asking all offseason long. How many SEC teams do I see in the 12-team playoff, and what does the entire field look like? These are officially my predictions for the 12-team college football playoff and what the field will consist of when things get going this December in what's set up to be the wildest postseason of college football we have ever seen. That being said, guys, let's pull up my bracket and go through each of my selections, starting with the number one overall national seed in the 12-team college football playoff. And may I remind you, the top four seeds do receive first-round buys. At the one seed, guys, I've got the Georgia Bulldogs, my SEC champion. Now, you might recall, I actually have Texas beating Georgia in the regular season, thus finishing ahead of the Dogs in the regular season standings. So I've got Texas 1, Georgia 2 in the regular season standings. Both of those teams at 11-1 and 7-1 in conference play. That being said, I do think Georgia, when the two face off in Atlanta, I think the Dogs will get their revenge in this game. And I think it is Georgia who is the number one seed as the SEC champion in the college football playoff. As the 2 seed, I've got the Ohio State Buckeyes, your Big Ten champion. One of the best rosters in college football, guys. I don't know that this one's really up for debate. Maybe you'll see some that have Oregon winning the Big Ten, but I do think it will be Ohio State, who I do believe is going to take on Oregon, but I think Ohio State will get the better of the Ducks, and they will be on the other side of the bracket as the 2 seed. The 3 seed in my bracket, my 12-team college football playoff, I've got the ACC champion, the Miami Hurricanes. And yes, if you guys have been following closely, I think Florida beats Miami in week 1. I think the Gators get them in the swamp. I don't think Miami loses a game after that. And even if they drop one more, I do think Miami does enough. I don't think they lose more than one ACC game. I think they make it to the ACC title. They take on Florida State, and I think the Hurricanes, for the second time this season, beat Florida State to lock down the ACC championship and secure that number 3 seed. And my 4 seed, guys, the only representative I have from the Big 12 in my 12-team college football playoff, that being the Utah Utes. I like Cam Rising and I like Kyle Whittingham and this football team a lot. Love what they've built with this program. Guys, the Big 12, it's as wide open as any conference out there, but I do like Utah in this slot. They're the favorite to win it. I think it's fair and it's favorable and it's reasonable they are the favorite. I think they should be the favorite. Could Oklahoma State emerge as this team? Absolutely, they could. But I think the bigger debate is the Big 12 going to be a 1-bid or a 2-bid league? I think most likely it's a 1-bid league. And while I do think it could be Oklahoma State, need to see a little bit more consistency out of Mike Gundy's squad, his program. They've got a tendency to lose some games they shouldn't. I like Utah. I'll take more of the steadiness, the steady hand. I think Cam Rising and company, big first year in the Big 12, and they secure the Big 12 title to be the number 4 national seed. Now, again, 1 through 4, these are the teams that get a first-round bye. As we go outside of the top 4, maybe the most coveted spot of all, guys, the 5 seed. Why is this the most coveted spot? Because the 5 seed gets to play the 12 seed, who's going to be the group of 5 champion. And guess who they get to play after that? The 4 seed, who's quote-unquote the weakest conference champion of the bunch. So you could argue being in that slot, the 5 seed, not saying it's as good as having a first-round bye, but it does set up pretty well. My 5 seed, I've got the Texas Longhorns, the loser of the SEC championship. I've got them sitting at 11-2 at this point, and I think they will earn that spot in the number 5 seed. In the 6th seed on the other side of the bracket, I've got the loser of the Big Ten title game, the Oregon Ducks, who will be primed to make a run under Dan Lanning. In the 7 seed, this is where it gets really, really interesting. I've got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I think Notre Dame takes down Texas A&M in week 1 at Kyle Field. I think they lose at most 1 game. I'm a believer in Marcus Freeman. I'm a believer in Notre Dame with Riley Leonard. I think that defense is going to be one of the best in college football. Yet again, I like the Fighting Irish to make the 12-team college football playoff as an independent. They've probably got to go 11-1. I don't know that 10-2 gets them in, but I think they will hit that 11-1 mark. They're my 7 seed in my 12-team college football playoff. Here's where things start to get really, really interesting. My number 8 seed in the 12-team college football playoff, I've got the Tennessee Volunteers. Guys, I'm a believer in Tennessee. I'm a believer in Nico. I'm a believer in Josh Heupel. I'm a believer in that front 7. I've got Tennessee getting signature wins, such as beating Alabama on their home field. I think Tennessee's going to be for real this year. I got them with 2 losses. Georgia, no shame in that one, and then Oklahoma, but it's early in the season. I think that signature win against Bama helps separate Tennessee from some of the other resumes, which we'll get into in just a second. But I got Tennessee as the 8 seed. Who will Tennessee be playing? Well, that's the 9 seed they'll take on. And I've got the 9 seed, the Florida State Seminoles, the second-place team in the ACC. That would mean Tennessee, Florida State in Knoxville, first round of the college football playoff. Can you imagine the scene on Rocky Top? So I think it is Tennessee, Florida State, the 8-9 matchup. You go to the other side of the bracket, guys. Who is the 10 seed, the team that'll take on 7 seed Notre Dame? I do have Kalen DeBoer and the Alabama Crimson Tide. And this is, guys, again, you look at the resume. Yes, I think they lose at Tennessee. But I think Bama, with some signature wins on their schedule, beating a Missouri, beating a LSU on the road. I've got Bama at 10-2 also. I've got a slew of SEC teams at this 10-win mark. Bama's one of them. I think they make the 12-team college football playoff year 1 of Kalen DeBoer, and they travel to South Bend to take on Notre Dame in their round 1 matchup. The 11 seed, I've got another SEC team, but the resume is deserving. My 11 seed, and who will take on the Oregon Ducks at their place on the West Coast? The LSU Tigers. Brian Kelly navigates LSU to a 10-2 season. Signature win over Ole Miss. Yes, you have the loss to Bama, but a signature win over Ole Miss, and you take care of business most the rest of the way. You'll get a big win against Oklahoma. It's a navigatable schedule. I do have LSU getting upset to Florida, but I don't think it knocks them out the playoff. I think the win over Ole Miss is the one they hang their hat on, and so I think LSU at 10-2 is in the college football playoff. And finally, guys, my 12 seed, which will take on the Texas Longhorns in Austin, the group of 5 champion. I've got the Appalachian State Mountaineers, the boys from Boone, will take on Hookham. I think Joey Aguilar and company, everybody's talking about Liberty and Memphis and Boise State. Liberty's got to go to the Rock, folks. Do not forget. And I think Appalachian State gets that win, and I think they will be your G5 representative. So my 1 through 12, and then I'm going to address really quick the teams I left out. Number 1 seed, I got Georgia. 2 seed, I got Ohio State. 3 seed, Miami. 4 seed, Utah. 5 seed, Texas. 6 seed, Oregon. 7 seed, Notre Dame. 8 seed, Tennessee. 9 seed, Florida State. 10 seed, Alabama. 11 seed LSU, and 12 seed Appalachian State. Now, who's missing? Some of you are screaming from the rooftops. Where are Ole Miss and Missouri? And listen, in my predictions, I had 7 SEC teams winning 10 or more games. 7. Ole Miss and Missouri were 2 of those, along with the 5 that I have in my college football playoff. Guys, if you go through and you look at the resumes, if Ole Miss and Missouri lose the wrong games, which in my predictions, I could argue they're the wrong games, there's just no way the resumes of Ole Miss and Missouri will stack up to their SEC brethren who have won 10 games or more. Because I've got Ole Miss guys losing to LSU and Georgia. What would be the Rebels' best win? As good as Ole Miss is going to be this year, and I would argue they're worthy of being a playoff team, who do you put them in above? Who do they have a better win than? What's their signature win? Oklahoma? At South Carolina? Is it Kentucky? There's nothing in the non-conference. What's their signature win? Is their signature win better than LSU beating them? Should they get in over LSU? Is their signature win better than Tennessee beating Bama? Is their signature win better than Bama beating LSU? I mean, who should they be ahead of in that scenario? And then Missouri, same things, guys. I've got Missouri losing to, Alabama. And the other game I've got Missouri losing is to Oklahoma. So in that scenario, if Mizzou does, and Mizzou probably even more so than Ole Miss, Mizzou might need to go 11-1, guys, with the schedule they have. What's their signature win in that scenario? They don't play Georgia. They don't play Texas. They don't play Ole Miss. So if you lose to Bama and you lose to Oklahoma, what's your signature win? Who did you beat? So is it a guarantee to happen? Will it sort itself out? Will there only be 3 or 4 double-digit win SEC teams? 4 or 5? Potentially so. But in my predictions, in my scenario, which you could argue is an ultimate chaos scenario, I won't deny that. But if it plays out the way I've predicted, and we have 7 10-win or more SEC teams, there's a real path where Ole Miss and Missouri are left out. So call it a bold prediction, call it a bold take, call it whatever you want. I think if Ole Miss and Missouri lose the wrong games and the top of this league is as good as we think it could be, Ole Miss and Mizzou will be on the outside looking in. So, guys, when you take a look at the 2024 college football playoff, a 12-team playoff at that, what are your predictions? Who's in? Who's out? And how many SEC teams will make the 12-team field? Guys, that's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. Until next time, guys, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we'll catch you on the other side.